What's up, everybody? For the next 7 hours, you're stuck with me. I could do this for fucking 7 hours. Just that everybody. I could 7 hours of that. Somebody can make like a vine of that, then turn that into like a 10-hour YouTube thing. I'm Jared. If you're watching, it's a 7 hour, 7 hour show. Doesn't matter which order you put it in. Either way, it's going to be a fun time. So here's what's going to happen. For the next 90 minutes or so, I'm going to be answering some questions, telling some stories. A lot of you sent in questions. Over 1,500 questions were sent in. I read all of them. And to be honest, a lot of them were different. I thought a lot of them were going to be the same, like 15 questions. But I picked like a good 50, maybe 75 questions, and then I'll elaborate on some of them, because some of them are pretty vague, so I'll tell some stories in between. And again, here are the questions, just so you guys don't think I'm lying. And again, this is all live. It was supposed to be pre-recorded, but I changed my mind this morning, and now it's going to be live. As you can see, if this shit was pre-recorded, I would have edited it all out, and yeah, whatever. So tech problems equals live. Keep that in mind, people. If you're ever going to do a live show, tech problems are key to prove that it's live. Or, for all you guys know, this could be pre-recorded, and I could just be really, really good at pretending there are tech problems, because we've had a lot of them throughout the year. So tweet at FNC, but more importantly, hashtag FNC 7 years. And before I begin, I know you guys don't want me plugging shit all night, but the new Friday Night Crank shirts, I got one over there, but you'll see it later on tonight. If you use coupon code FNC 7 years, all one word with the number 7, you get 25% off everything in the store. That's ringtones, digital albums, and the new shirt. The new shirt with free shipping if you're in the US is like $15 now if you use the code. So a lot of you have done it. A lot of you have ordered the pre-ordered shirts. Those have all been shipped. Thankfully, I spent 45 minutes in the post office this week. All of it's going out. And some of you even tweeted that you've got them already, but if you're on the East Coast, you're probably not going to get them till Monday. But you all have tracking numbers, so I checked most of them today. A lot of them did say Monday, so it's all good. So let's start this Q&A. I guess if there's time at the end, we can I can take some more, but this shirt's like awkward. But I'd rather answer all of the ones you guys have sent in, because a lot of you guys asked some very amazing questions. So let's start this off. Again, tweet. A lot of you have been sending in pictures of the food that you're eating and your drinks and your whole setup if you're watching it on a TV or a computer. Tweet that shit to me. That's awesome. I love it. I mean, I know you guys are watching, but it makes me feel like you guys are actually watching. Okay. The first question is probably the most frequently asked question next to, how old am I? But I'll answer that a little later, I guess. I'm not going to avoid it. First question is what started Friday Night Cranks? Well, about 22 years ago, 22 years, I guess a little, maybe closer to 23 years, my mom and dad went out on a date, and they decided, you know what? We should have a kid who's really fucking awesome. And they did. So I'm pretty sure Friday Night Crank started that long ago, but I didn't think of the idea until 7 years ago. Well, 7 years and a month ago. I'll elaborate for those of you who don't know the story. I mean, it's a true story, so it's not like there's really much to elaborate on. In January, I tuned into a show online, which is called The Sunday Night Stew, which was hosted, and still is hosted, by somebody you may know called Stu Stone. And I saw that he was doing a live show, it was a live talk show type of thing, and I thought, hey, we should do something like that. So I talked to my cousin Joe and my cousin Kristen, and we were all like, oh, what should we do? And somebody, I don't think anybody really knows. So the idea came out about doing prank calls, and I found a webcam that was in like a laser jet 2000 printer. I guess back then printers came with webcams, and I remember the printer, but I just was going through the box, and it came with a tiny fucking, it was like that big of a webcam. And yeah, then I borrowed microphones from my friend. I gave them back to him, but I'm pretty sure we broke them. But they still worked, but they were broken. It's hard to explain. But It's okay. I mean, because we've had the mics for like however many years. Borrowed the mics from him. Convinced my parents was kind of easy because I was already doing ridiculous stuff, such as the PLC Cycle Laughing Chipmunks. If you guys have heard of that, that started way before FNC. Joe and Chris and I were already doing that. We were shooting home movies. We were doing like jackassy type of stuff. So I'm almost positive my parents thought like this was just going to be like another one of those like phases. Like, oh yeah, we'll just they want to stay home Friday nights. They'll sit in a basement and talk to a computer. What's the worst that could happen? Joke was on them. Like, obviously they didn't. Nobody really thought this through, including me. Convincing Joe and Kristen's parents were harder because I was 15, Joe was 13 or 12, Kristen was 10. So a 10-year-old girl from Shirley on Long Island broadcasting live on the internet did not seem like a good idea to really everybody. So you could see how that was a bad idea. But they said that we could all do the show as long as the first show we didn't do prank calls. So we did Friday Night Cranks, the prank call show, the first time for 2 hours without doing prank calls. So I don't know, we did a lot of talking. We did a lot of, pretty sure we sang Welcome to the Jungle at one point. Took a lot of phone calls of people calling in, but we didn't do actual pranks. Not sure how that worked. But I mean, it worked out pretty well. So the next question, what did your family think about the idea? Kind of already answered that. My parents were just kind of like, yeah, sure. I mean, it's like I'm pretty sure that was their reaction. It's not like they were like, oh, that's a great idea, and they weren't like, fuck that. They were very neutral. Because again, I could have been doing way worse things. So it's very neutral. I would have been neutral, except I was excited. What were the first few shows like? Well, I went over the first show. Second, third, and fourth show were a fucking shit show. That's the only way to describe it. I tried to think of a more nicer way to say it, but it was a fucking shit show. Mostly because we didn't know what we were doing. And we started making prank calls. Again, imagine Tech Problems 2007. So we were broadcasting on Stickcam, and it was friggin' crazy. And nobody was watching, and the only people that were really watching were people from my high school, William Floyd High School. So, and Joe and Kristen's friends. I think Joe was in middle school. Kristen was probably, I don't know what grade she was in, probably going into 6th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. One of those. Young as hell. So the first few shows we only had a few people watching, which was fine, because I think literally the first show we had 3 people, and the next time we had like 5 or 7. And that was, in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's like the most it's going to be is like a friggin' 10-person watching show. So the third show was when the first prank call was done, and it wasn't even by me, like the first good prank call. My friends Alexis and Lisa crashed show number 2. No, it was show number 2, sorry. Show number 2. And I've shown clips of it before, so imagine. On those 2 couches where we did the show was me, Kristen, my brother was there for some of it, my friend Michelle, Lisa, and Alexis. So 6 people all on one couch. It was, I guess, 2 couches maybe smaller than this because they were individual, so a little smaller than this, so maybe like ended like here. 6 people on there. I've shown video of that before. I think on the 6-year show or 5-year show, and it was pretty interesting. So the first prank call that was actually done was to the Blockbuster movie store, which is on the Best of Friday Night Cranks 1 album, where she's calling asking for like Dolly Parton movies and stuff like that. That was the first one, and then I did one to Papa John's a week later. And I don't remember what the hell happened, but I just remember saying, like, bam, Papa John's over and over again. So that's how that started. And then we just got progressively ridiculous with the ideas. So the first few shows were crazy. Everybody knows infamous show number 4 where I quit temporarily because I didn't want to do the show anymore because it was crazy. Like, again, it was a shit show. Just different people are coming on, all friends and stuff, which was cool. A cool concept, but then it was just getting crazy. So Joe and Kristen and I spoke after the show, and I pretty much hammered out like a format for the show. Like, there's going to be an intro, there's going to be talking, then there's going to be pranks, so then like this will happen, and people were sending in ideas into a chat room, and we were going to print them out and all that stuff. So Yeah, that was kind of the format of the show, and then we started rolling with that. And yeah. What was high school like, and did Friday Night Cranks change your high school experience? No, high school was pretty dumb. Just, high school was dumb. And yeah, I just kind of just did my own thing in high school. I started the show when I was in 10th grade, so I would literally hand out flyers and stuff, and people would be like, oh, yeah, whatever. Because, again, I mean, people don't understand the concept of a live show now, let alone in 2007, when there was, like, nothing even close to that going on, before YouTube was really even big. And then, yeah, as a senior, when Friday Night Cranks was starting to pick up a lot of views and stuff, sorry, if this freezes, just keep letting me know, guys. No. Yeah, nobody's. I think everybody was going to tell me if it froze, but I don't think it did. So I would say it's getting really hot in here. I would say as a senior in high school, it really didn't change much, except that some of the people that I pranked were in high school, and I ran into a few of them. But other than that, it didn't really change high school for me, which I guess is good. Did I have any jobs before / during Friday Night Cranks? Yes. My first job was at a company in Sag Harbor on Long Island that my dad was like a manager of. It was a computer repair company, and I worked there just kind of like checking out people if they would buy ink cartridges or stuff like that. And that was like my first job, and then I would do that pretty much every summer through high school. And then in 9th grade or 10th grade? No, I think it was 10th grade. Pretty much right when I started the show, I got a job at the public library, which you guys have heard plenty of my stories from there. That was fun. It was an interesting experience. So I did have some jobs, and that made just everything crazier. Doing high school, and then the jobs, and then Friday Night Cranks was just friggin' awesome. So yeah, good stuff. Somebody just tweeted, I wonder how popular I was in school. Not really. Not at all. I kind of touched on that before, but Friday Night Cranks did not impact that, and I'm kind of glad. Because, I mean, 90% of my high school were douchebags and crazy people. And I was only friends with the few douchebags and crazy people. There was really no escaping it. I think to this day I only keep in touch with, like, literally 2 people from high school. So yeah, that just goes to show you how crazy everybody was. Where did you get the ideas for your characters from? Just kind of wherever. The Jim character, I think, has evolved the most. He just went from, like, a really high-pitched, I guess, kid to a dad to, like, an abusive, crazy person to just really weird. The Brandon character was based off of one of my friends who was a very stereotypical gay person, and I was just so amused by how he talked, and it wasn't in a bad way, not amused in like a bad way, but just he's Brandon, and in high school and in middle school when I was friends with him, I was just always so amused by like just some of his wordings and phrasings and how he would say things, and just people were like, oh, okay, he's gay, he's allowed to say that, and I just thought like, huh. So when we started doing prank calls, I think Kristen suggested, like, oh, you should do, like, a gay character. And really, I can only do so many things with my voice, so it was just, Brandon was born. And it was just like, hey, and it was kind of like that. And now he has evolved into the most friggin' ridiculous thing in the world. And I'm still friends with the kid, and he knows of Brandon in the show and knows that, like, that's him, and he thinks it's awesome, which is good. It was a really awkward moment. We were sharing a hotel room on a high school trip, and he was watching Friday Night Cranks videos because I was like telling him about it, not realizing he didn't know. Then he was watching the videos, and he was like, oh, Brandon sounds a lot like me. I'm like, hey, yeah. So, that awkward moment when you are Brandon. Barney, he started off as a gangster character, then turned into a New Yorker, then was a hillbilly thing, and now he's kind of like everything. Now he's just Barney. He's just a fucking nut job. Now apparently he lives in fucking Beverly Hills. and does literally every odd job on the face of this planet. So, and Mitch is just a pedophile. So, and same thing with Candy, the Michelle character, and Gertrude, and all of the characters that are on the show. Even when special guests come on and create them, we try and make them very stereotypical, because when you're over the phone and I just say, "Hi, it's Brendan," like, they know, like, oh, it's Brendan, it's a gay guy, and we go from there. It's hard to come up with characters that are easily projected that way. And sometimes it doesn't even matter. A lot of the times the characters and stuff are just for you guys. Like, some of the lines and half the shit I say is just to amuse you guys during the calls. Oh, Jesus. Is Brandon an alter ego of yours in any way? What similarities do you have personality-wise, if any? I think I'm very, I don't know, I wouldn't say quiet or shy. I can be. But Brandon's always, like, he's always on. He's always, like, fucking just out there, and he doesn't care about what he says to people. And I'd like to think that he knows that he can get away with certain situations, such as locking himself in a pod or trying to get breast implants or saying he's a magician and disappeared a cat into Magic Land. I like to think that he knows that he could say or do things like that and people will believe him. And I mean, he's the only character to do a 2.5 minute throw up scene. Like, and just keep throwing up, and the person's like, oh, okay, like, it's doable. So I would say his personality-wise, he's the more hyper, crazier side of me, and I don't usually get that hyped as he is, but it's always fun to be that. He's probably my favorite character to do, just because it's like he's literally the opposite of me on every scale. But yeah. Let's see. I remember you saying you don't like to do paranormal prank calls anymore because you've had experiences in the past. Can you share any stories that we may not know about? Sure, only because you asked, and this is the 7-year show. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but if you guys remember a few years ago I think it was right when I moved to South Carolina, and we started doing the green screen things, I did a call to California Psychics, and they knew it was me. Like, I bought a prepaid debit card. This was never on YouTube, and it's never going to be. It was a prepaid debit card. I didn't even tell you guys that we were calling them, and I kept bleeping out, like, when they said their company name. So I had no idea. The debit card was registered to, like, a really random name. And we dialed in on the show, and the psychic guy picked up, and he said, like, "Hi, Jared, I know I'm on Friday Night Crank. Stop messing with me," and blah, blah, blah. So that was scary. And then after that, in my house that my parents live in now, that everything's fine now. And just throughout that year, there was just really, really random, crazy stuff happening. And I'm not an expert, I'm just a professional. Joke. And some people that we've spoken to all have tied those incidences back to the California Psychic prank. So I kind of decided there that I'm no longer going to fuck with the psychic type of stuff. I have no problem, pretending stuff like that is happening, but to, like, the ghost hunter prank call to call ghost hunters, say there's ghost in my house, I still think that's funny. But to, like, call people like that is just really weird. So, yeah, there's a more in-depth story, but I'd rather not start talking about that. Maybe one day. Are your parents divorced? You never talk about your dad. I think he was there not too long ago, but we never saw him. Well, I don't like to talk about this much. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. My parents are not divorced. They are awesome. They are still together. I think a week ago, 21st. Yeah, last week. They celebrated 26 years of being married. And if you think about it, if I'm there for 22 of them, that's fucking crazy. So props to them. I think 7 years of doing the show is a long time. 26 years of them putting up with each other and dealing with me for 22 of them. I'd like to think that I contributed to the 26 years of them being together, since I'm so fucking awesome. But no, they're awesome. They just, I don't know. They just don't come on the show. It's weird. So they're there. They still watch. My mom's watching now. She just texted me that I'm an ass. So yeah. So Yeah, so they're still together. It's just there are certain like people and friends and stuff that just they don't want to come on the show, and I just think like, maybe one day. For those of you who went to the stage show in New York about 2 years ago, my parents were there. A lot of you met my mom. She was there. She was like checking people in and stuff. And my dad was there. He left shortly after because he had to go back to Myrtle Beach. But my parents were there, so like they're there. I never like introduced them. Like, oh, my parents are here, but like they were there. And a lot of you met my mom. I know that as a fact. And she thinks James the Nerd is adorable. She says that a lot. So, when did the show first start taking off? I don't know. I would say by like the fourth or fifth show, there was a lady who worked at Stickam named Anna Berry. She everybody's so upset they thought I was really crying. I'm sorry. Why would I like take that question and put it in the list knowing I'm gonna have to talk about it and then still cry? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you guys. I apologize. I don't even remember. Oh, what was the question? When a friend I, oh yeah, so there's a lady at Stickam named Anna Berry that saw the show and said like, oh, I'll feature you guys on the Stickam homepage, which back then was a big deal. So the night we were featured on Stickam was like show 6 or 7. And yeah, so that's when we got people watching the show that weren't my friends or Kristen's friends or Joe's friends, and they weren't family. And then that's when people started sending in actual ideas that were like outside of, again, our friends and family. And that's when everything started to kind of take off. So yeah. I mean, I would say personally, like where it got to the point where I didn't know what to do with with myself was probably like 2009 when the prank call gone wrong and Walmart on lockdown started going viral. For whatever reason, YouTube thought it was a good idea to promote those videos. That's when we were all kind of like, holy shit, when your video has 1 million views and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. So how much time does Friday Night Cranks take up? Well, the show is 2 hours every week, but I spend about 12 to 16 hours every day on Friday Night Crank stuff, and you probably think I'm exaggerating, but it's like literally that. So at first, the show didn't take up much, but then once, I needed a website, a YouTube channel, the MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, and then all that stuff, and then the mobile app and Roku channel and all that stuff, just all of that. It's a lot. Then plus like other projects to add on top of it and all that fun stuff. So it takes up a lot. Right now it is currently my full-time job, which is awesome. And that's like the shit. So again, that's the only way to explain it. I didn't really think of too many positive sounding words, but that's awesome. So it takes up a lot of time, but it's a lot of good time. So like I'd rather spend 6 hours like on website stuff and shipping out shirts and all that stuff than working at a fucking library. So how do you not laugh in the middle of a prank and you get a funny reaction? How do you not laugh when you're in the middle of a prank and you get... Okay. I guess not laughing, I guess that goes with doing the prank. It's very hard. Very freaking hard. There were a few times, especially recently, with the freaking Sophie prank and with the No Bang Treaty, where... Oh, and even the one with Adam Pearce, with Hector, whatever his name was. There have been a few times on the show where I have cracked and, like, literally laughed, but it just comes down to, like, not wanting to laugh because then I freaking ruined the whole prank. I was going to say fuck up and then I wanted to say freak up to not say the F word too many times. But that's what it comes down to, is not wanting to laugh and not wanting to ruin it. I will watch it, like when I'm editing the video and after it's on YouTube, I'll literally watch it when everybody else is watching it and I will laugh my ass off. And there are even when I was editing a video, which you're going to see at the very end of the night, which is an hour of my favorite lines of Friday Night Cranks, I was rolling. there were like two parts where like I was like crying, and like I was there when we did it live. I edited it on YouTube, but it's just some of the craziest shit, and yeah, it's great. So it's just one of those things where you don't want to laugh, because if you ruin it now, then you can't laugh at it later. So yeah. And for some reason, laughing to myself, I do all the time anyway. Like if we're legitly in person and somebody says something funny, my laugh is like, that's my laugh. Unless it's like, ha, like, I usually like, that's my laugh. So I'm not a loud laugher by any means anyway, so it's easy. And that's usually my laugh on the show. It's just, I usually cover my mouth or turn away and whatever. Okay. And that is the laugh session with Jared. Had there been any particular prank suggestions, whether it be prank calls or hidden camera pranks, that you thought were going too far? Suggestions? Yes, all the time. To call suicide hotline, to call the police department, to call whatever. Anything with emergency services, we stay away from. We've done stuff like teen crisis hotlines and addiction hotlines, but none of them are emergency services. Teen crisis hotline, people debate back and forth all the time if that was a bad call on my part. But any hotlines, as long as they're non-emergencies, I don't see it being a problem. I don't like the fact that people sometimes call suicide hotline or like emergency numbers, and they may tie up the lines, and that's something I personally don't want to do. I don't really give a shit what other people do. I don't like it though, but I would just rather not do that. So any ideas with that? Calling people and saying that, like, you know, that their daughter's pregnant and stuff is funny to an extent, but if you're wanting to call your parents and like mess with your parents to say you're pregnant, like that's I don't like doing stuff like that. If you want me to call like your ex or whatever, like that makes it a little easier. And then also suggestions of calling like friggin' 12-year-olds. When I was 15 starting the show, that'd be funny, but 22, I can't mess with a little kid. I can mess with their parents big time and use the kid in the prank, like the 9-year-old on Xbox, but that's about as far as I'll go. And also, a frequent one that I get all the time is to call a friend and say that you're dead. People will say, like, oh, call my friend and say you're a doctor at a hospital and, like, I got into a car crash and I died. Like, that's not funny. That's not funny. That doesn't even, I don't know who would think that's funny. So, yeah. Moving on. Oh, Jesus, this is very taking a shot at me. What made you keep doing the show for so long? Usually people would grow out of doing pranks. Okay. I would say that, I don't know, it's fun. And that's I say it all the friggin' time to people, which is good. It's still fun, and that's what I like about it, and I don't really care that it's been 7 years and I still sit and make prank calls because it's fun, and it's crazy, and it's ridiculous, and you have moments like last week, and just pretty much every week, you just have like those moments where like nobody else will be able to recreate it, and I would never be able to do that again if I tried. Like the Magic Land prank call, and the longest prank call ever, and the Snuggle Buddies, like stuff like that. You can never do that again, even if you tried. So that's what makes it awesome. So, and I get to laugh my ass off for 2 hours, and I guess you guys laugh sometimes, apparently, from what you said. And then I get the occasional tweet about how people do not laugh at all. Apparently. Yeah. Okay. Out of every prank in the last 7 years, what was the most awkward moment you have ever experienced? I would say they just keep getting more awkward. I guess my definition of awkward and your definition of awkward are two different things, because I like awkward, if you haven't noticed. I will literally keep the person on the phone just to make it more awkward, because I enjoy awkward comedy, like The Office and stuff like that, where it's just so cringy awkward. I think one of the the most awkward moment in any prank, if you look up the Netflix/Quickster, back when Netflix wanted to be Quickster. Do you guys remember that? They announced that for like a day and then they changed it back. But I called that guy and he's like, do you have any more questions? And I'm like, yeah. And then it's like silent. He's like, okay, what's your question? And I'm like, okay. Are you going to ask a question? Yeah. And that goes on for like 10 minutes. And it's so like, I cringe. I like, you get shivers, but like I cringe inside watching that because it's so uncomfortable, which is amazing. And I also think one of the most awkward moments out of every prank has to be, in my opinion, the Love in the Box prank. As funny as it is, just me personally singing or rapping, I guess, glitter sex to this girl and not breaking eye contact and just going like, you know what to do. Like, can't even do it with a straight face. Like in front of her mom and her boyfriend and like I'm just wearing pretty much nothing. That was really uncomfortable with a fucking heart in my chest. Yeah, probably one of the most awkward things I have ever done. Ever. That takes the cake for everything. Watching it back is funny as hell, but yeah, that's just so awkward. So awkward. I want to make sure I'm like checking my tweets because everybody's tweeting. You know what to do. Somebody thought I was 25. Jeez. That's not. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that. That's old. I'm not 25 yet. Probably I will be. Will be soon in 3 years. But I'm only 22. All right. Next question. If you weren't doing FNC, what kind of job do you think you would have? Ooh, that's a good pretend none of this ever happened question. I would say, I don't friggin' know. I would say, before doing the show, I always wanted to do like, I don't know, like computer repair stuff and like just something with computers. I always figured that that's where I was going. I am technically doing something with computers right now, but I figured like fixing computers or working on them or I don't fucking know, something like that. I have no idea. And then in high school, I took a bunch of business classes, so I should probably invite them in on the show. Just because I feel like they're a part of the show anyway. I don't care. Again, they're outside. Those are like the only kids I've ever seen outside in the last like 5 years. So good for them. It's a new breed of children in San Diego. Kids who go outside. I don't know. So yeah, I think that would be kind of my job. Is just something, either fixing computers like a fucking Geek Squad thing, or I don't fucking know. Something like that. But I don't know. For this to be a job is freaking crazy, like I was saying before. So, any more stage shows? No. Why did I look at the microphone when I said that? No. Yes, stage shows. They, with me moving twice in like 6 months, they have been kind of put on hold, but I want to do something. Probably the first one will be in LA. I was thinking maybe the end of March, beginning of April. I'm going to kind of test out some stuff. I'm working on some new stuff for the stage show, but definitely, hell yeah. More stage shows. Those are fun. And it's definitely going to be new stuff. It's not going to be the same show as it was 2 years ago, which is fine. And it's going to be more awesome. So, but for those of you who were at the last one, it was pretty fucking awesome. So, what happened to the Disconnected series? Nothing happened to it. It's still there. Again, it's had to be reworked. The problem with the Disconnected series was that not only was it really expensive to do, it was a lot of work for me to do, and not in a bad way. It was a lot of fun, but in terms of coming up with the ideas, contacting everybody, setting the ideas up, a lot of those ideas took months. Like the moving truck one took 3 months to plan. if you were at the first stage show, the girl who was working the merch booth, her name was Alyssa, she set up her roommate literally the next day as I was done planning the babysitter one, because we shot it that week. She started talking to me about the moving truck prank, and that's where we came up with it. And we didn't shoot it till like 3 months later, I think. So it was a lot. That was a work in progress. And then to go through like shooting everything, then editing it, like it was freaking crazy. So it took a lot of energy out of me, and it got to the point where like it was really, really overwhelming. But much like the stage shows, I'm reworking it, and it's definitely, you guys will see more hidden camera stuff soon, and it's not going to be, it's going to be along the lines of disconnected stuff. It's not going to be like public stuff. I mean, those are fun to do. Like the stuff I was doing a public prank. It's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be like crazy over the top hidden camera stuff that you would expect from me. But again, it's going to take a little more time. But my primary focus right now is the stage shows, getting those going, and then as I travel, hidden camera stuff will happen in those places. So that's kind of the plan. But trust me, I never forget about stuff. It's always, if I'm not talking about it, I'm secretly trying to do stuff. So you guys will see it one way or another. What's the most underrated prank call you've done and the most overrated prank call? Ooh, you guys have balls tonight. You guys like, Jared will answer any question. Let's just fucking throw everything at him. That's a good question. You guys are making me think. This isn't a relaxed Q&A. This is fucking intense stuff. All right. Woo! I would say the most underrated prank call has to be, it changes, but I would say top 3 underrated prank calls, in my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. I would say the Addicted to Tickle Me Pink Crayons prank call, just because the concept of us calling an addiction line and the scene that unfolds. If you haven't heard that call, watch it later. It's in the clips that'll happen at the end of the show. The Addicted to Tickle Me Pink prank call. Hands down, if you've seen that one, when the pterodactyl screech happens, you will listen to that and wonder how I didn't blow out my voice doing that. To be honest, I have no idea how I didn't either. I used to wake up on Saturdays, and I still sometimes do when I do that. I used to wake up with like my throat burning because I would like just screw up my voice completely. So yeah. So I would say that one. I would say the storage facility prank. I know it has like 100,000 views, which is a lot, but compared to some of the other ones, that is one of my all-time favorite ones. And then, I've had to pick another one. Underrated. I would say, it's a hard one. That's a hard one because there's like 10 I'm thinking of. I'm gonna leave it at those two. And then overrated, I'll pick 2 overrated ones. In my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, I would say overrated has to be, in my opinion, again, my opinion, is the Walmart on lockdown video. I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, what, Jared? That's a really popular one. That was the first video that I saw of you. That one's really, I know. Shh. I say it's overrated in the sense that I don't know. To me, when if I watch videos that, like the Tickle Me Pink one or the storage facility, I will be like rolling on the ground watching those, no matter any time of the day. The Walmart on lockdown one, I'll watch that now, and I'm like, it's all right. It's me putting a Walmart on lockdown. I said she's in a picnic basket. I get those are funny, but like it's just, in my opinion, it's like it's still funny, but it's just other ones over the years are still, I guess, ahead of everything else that's out there, in my opinion. So I would say that's a very overrated one. And I would say the another overrated one, in my opinion. It's a hard one. Jeez. I would say, I guess now, I would say the gay stripper one. When we called the stripper and said that, we were from a strip club and we were auditioning him for a job and we were getting him to sing and do jumping jacks. I think it's overrated in the sense that there have been so many better ones with that concept since then. That one I'll watch it, and I mean, I could see in my head like, oh, there's potential for that idea, and we've brought it many times. We got people to do crazy shit and say crazy shit, but that's, in my opinion, that's just one of an overrated one as well. But it's hard because they're all fucking awesome, and that's why I put them on YouTube. So it's hard picking an overrated one. Jeez, that was a tough one. I feel mentally drained right now. I feel mentally drained. Okay. Is there anything that has happened over the past 7 years? Had you known the thing before you started Friday Night Cranks, it may have kept you from starting in the first... What the fuck? I feel like I'm in a therapy session with you guys, but you know what? Props to you guys. These are thinkers. Has anything happened over the past 7 years had I known before you started? I don't know. In a way, no, but in a way, yes. I'm going to say no just because, like, there's really no... I take that question as, like, a more tragic standpoint. Like, I destroyed somebody's life and he broke into my house and tried to kill me. Then, you know, nothing like that has happened, thankfully. But, I would... Fuck. No. But at the same time, I think if I knew years back... I think if we all knew years back how crazy it would be, we may have not have started to begin with, I think. But I would have to say no to that there really wasn't anything that has happened that would make me go like, oh, not going to start the show, because 15-year-old Jared didn't really give a shit about anything. Much like 22-year-old Jared. But 15-year-old me... There's really nothing that... Again, there's nothing crazy that would have happened. Okay. What are your personal top favorite quotes from the show? You've answered this before. I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know. Because there are a lot. Do I ski or snowboard? Thank you. An easy one. Yes, I snowboard. I haven't snowboarded in a few years, but I'm a good snowboarder. Guys, get some cleavage going on. Sorry, guys and ladies. Didn't mean to tease you like that. Besides curling, are there any other Olympic quote-unquote sports that you find ridiculous, or just sports in general? Women's basketball? No, I'm just kidding. No, not really. I don't really find any sport ridiculous. Curling, I think, okay, the concept of curling is awesome if you're like a 13-year-old kid and all of your friends are, you know, on the block and you find a giant stone and your street's icy and you have brooms. Curling's a badass concept if you're 13. Again, 13, all the kids from the block are like trying to figure out fucking cool games to play because it's too icy to play manhunt at night, and you don't want to stay inside because back when I was a kid, we were like literally locked outside and we couldn't come back in even if we were injured. In that sense, curling is badass. But if you're a grown man or female and your job is that, I mean, good for them. I'm not bashing them, but if your job is that, you're a curler, and I think in that sense it's ridiculous as an Olympic sport. It would never work like football does. You couldn't watch it every week. You couldn't watch back to back curling. I could personally, but most people could not, and I think it's kind of ridiculous. But given the opportunity, I would be the best fucking curler to ever grace this planet for America. If for some reason I was able to do it in the Olympics, or somebody was like, hey, Jared, let's go curling. Here's a broom. Fuck yeah, I'm down. But I think it's ridiculous. If that makes any sense. Whew, is there any chance of calling the Ruckus Pizza Nazis again? No, because they know about the show. I think we tried calling them 2 years ago, and the owner, like, knew it was us, so... Okay. How long have you known about Kingdom Hearts? I knew about Kingdom Hearts before it was cool, guys. Now, I think my mom got me that game for Christmas. Not Christmas, Easter. Well, oh, sorry, the Easter Bunny. I know we have a lot of young viewers. Sorry. The Easter Bunny got me that for Easter one year. And I don't know if I may have asked for it, but I didn't know much about it. I thought it was like a game where, like, you rescue Disney characters and, like, it's like a 2D little game and, like, you're running, like, you get Donald and, like, yay, then you rescue, like, fucking Mario. I thought it was like that. I did not know it was, like, one of the most emotionally draining games on the face of this planet. So, yeah. I remember in one Easter, in that same Easter, got Kingdom Hearts, played it, totally thought I had the wrong game because for the first hour, it's not even Disney related. And then, yeah. Yeah, and then after that, my aunt took me to see Malibu's Most Wanted. We were the only white people in the movie theater. It was her, my cousin, and my brother Jason. My aunt, we were all in the movie theaters, the whitest people there. I don't know where the hell we went. I think we were in, like, Port Jeff. For whatever reason, to see Malibu's Most Wanted. Great movie. Great movie. What was the most insane, complicated prank idea that worked and was the most fun to do? It depends, because a lot of the ideas are improv. So I would say, like, the most hilarious prank call, the longest prank call, the Snuggle Buddies, the scavenger hunt, Walmart scavenger hunt. I think ones where, like, they're hard to pull off in the sense where, like, throughout the call, everything's normal, as always. Then shit gets weird. Then by the end of the call, the person repeats back, like, all of the things, like, you have blind children in the store leashed together on a scavenger hunt. What is wrong with you? And, like, that's crazy to pull off. So, stuff like that is hard to do. But I would say, and those are some of the most fun, where, like, they're long, like fucking Hector. But I would say Hector was easy because he was a nut job. But just stuff like that where it's crazy. How many prank calls were your original ideas? Ooh, that's a weird question because a lot of them were your ideas, and here's how it works. And I don't like to take credit for shit that I don't do. But here's how it works. Here's how it works. You guys send in a lot of ideas, and I'll read the ideas. And if you've had ideas that are done on the show, you know it works one of two ways. I'll either A, read your idea and go, that's fucking great. We're going to do that idea. Or I'll read the idea and, like, something will go off and I will come up with something completely different. And some of you get mad because, like, I don't follow the idea, but, like, yeah. Or, much like the fucking... I want to keep going back to the one with Adam Pierce, where our intentions is to do something. We tell you we're going to try and do this, and then we just get derailed and we never get to do the original idea. So I guess in a sense then that's it's my idea because it's improv, but I would say a few ideas that I literally sat there and said, I want to do this tonight, and without really any outside influences would be the longest prank call ever, and that was never intentional. The Walmart on lockdown, the one to the law office with Grand Theft Auto, the Grand Theft Auto one that we just did recently, and the iPhone 4S Siri Apple prank call with Siri, obviously because that took a lot of effort to do. So yeah, those were like some of the few where, like, I didn't really tell anybody and didn't really ask anybody. I just kind of did it. Which prank call would you like to do the most in person? Ooh. Thinking from a realistic standpoint, like realistically that I would actually enjoy pulling off, I would probably say doing a real life take on the either the Walmart scavenger hunt or the a real life take on the stolen penguin. Obviously, there'd be a lot more thought into it, not just like, oh, we're gonna go steal a penguin. But a concept based off of those ideas, I think those two ideas are pretty funny. That could work in person very well, and yeah, and a lot of the ideas can really only work over the phone just as they are. But the stolen penguin one, and the Walmart scavenger hunt, I think it'd be funny as hell if somebody actually showed up to the fucking zoo with a real penguin, like, or something based off of that. So, yeah. Which year of Friday Night Cranks is your favorite? Ooh. Again, back to it. You guys were drifting away, getting to the easy fun stuff, and now we're back to the thinkers. Back to the thinkers. Which year was my favorite? That's like picking. It's like picking. Fuck. Oh, God. I would say year. Oh, God damn it. I would say it's a tie between year 1 and year 6. Year 7 starts today, I guess, in a sense. I would say between the last year that happened, and the first year. The first year was insane. And again, going back to how awesome my parents are for even letting half of this crap happen. I was watching a lot of old clips that I was trying to put together for like a little mini clip show today, which it was just too crazy to do. The amount of stuff that happened. For example, here's a fun story of just how ridiculous things were getting in the first year. When people started watching, there were people that were in Shirley, Shirley, Mastic Beach, where we're all from. And we would just start inviting people. We invited all our friends, and then and whatever. We had a studio audience type of thing, which was ridiculous. There were fights happening pretty much every other week after the show, because we, Kristen would invite her friends. I'd invite my friends. Joe would invite his friends. Again, people that I hung out with in high school, they were pretty ridiculous. So, like, there were, in the first 10 weeks, there were 2 cat fights. Like, girls fighting. And that was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It wasn't on the show. Kid got knocked out on the show, even though it was supposed to be a joke. Kid got, like, knocked out. Yeah, then the best story is the White Ninja story, which I know my parents are watching. This is, like, the most ridiculous story. And again, the show shouldn't have gotten past the White Ninja incident. I call it an incident. Some of you may think this is funny. I think it's funny now, but at the time it was an incident, and they didn't really get too mad. So it was the 1-year anniversary of Friday Night Cranks. This kid messaged on Stickam about 20 minutes before the show started, like, "Hey, I'm the White Ninja." I swear to God. And he would always come on cam as a ninja. He's like, "I live in Shirley." I don't know how he knew. Well, actually, I'll get back to how he knew. He was like, "Could I come on the show?" And me not thinking, like, "Hell yeah, you can, dude. Here's my address. just come whenever you want." So I don't think I told my parents that. I don't think I lied. I don't think I said I knew him. I may have. That sounds like something that would happen in the moment. I may have said that he was a friend, or that I knew him through the show. Or I think in this situation, because it became an incident, I told the truth and said I didn't really know him. So he comes over. I swear to God this happens. And I have it on video too. He comes over, and I don't know if my mom was up, because she usually went to bed when the show started, because she didn't like hearing what was going down in the basement, especially when we're screaming and throwing stuff and stuff. She would get too anxious. So my dad would usually stay up. He wouldn't watch the show, but I don't know if she was up. She's watching, so she can tell me if she remembers this happening. In walks this kid in full ninja attire. And he has, like, fucking sword cases on his back. And he shows up. And I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And he, like, looks at my dad. And he's like, "Hi, I'm the White Ninja." My dad's like, "Hi." Like, this kid was the White Ninja. So it's starting to settle in my head. I don't know what Joe and Kristen were thinking, but it was started settling in my head, like, I don't know this fucking guy. Like, I have no idea who this kid is. So we all go down to the basement. So now, it's right before the show starts. I'm 15, Joe's 13, Kristen's 10. There's a fucking ninja in our house, and nobody has a clue. Even the people watching, nobody knows who this kid is or where he came from. All anybody knows is that he's a fucking ninja. So the show starts. There was no time. There was no like introductions or like, hey, what do you do for a living? Or like, how old are you? Or what's your name? And none of that. The show starts. We came up with he's gonna hide behind the couch here, and he's gonna pop out and draw his swords that are fake. Cause yeah. So he does that. The show starts. He pulls the freaking swords out. He's behind my head. He's like this. He's like, he puts the sword right here. And like, the joke was we were going to pretend we didn't know that was happening because he's a ninja. So, swords like to my neck. He's like waving fucking two swords around. He comes out on the show. We sit him down. We start talking. He doesn't really say much. He's just nodding. And whenever he speaks, he's speaking that he's a ninja. So, my mom said, I didn't know you didn't know him. Well, there's the fucking best part, Mom. Whew. So at this point, the show starts. And now we're talking about ninjas. And it comes up randomly that Kristen wanted to be a ninja. So he teaches her how to put the fucking thing on her face, which I think that was the night we did medium wonton soup. So that's why she looks a little weird in ninja attire. So I have a thing of paper that I'm like holding like this, like long ways like this, like maybe 10, 15 sheets of paper like this. And again, we're all thinking like this is live, like whatever, we'll just fuck around, like there's whatever. She goes like that, cuts through all of the paper. And then I realized that this fucking kid brought 2 live sharp swords into the house. So not only does nobody know who this kid is, my mom thought I knew the kid. We don't know where he came from. And he's fucking sitting there with live swords. And 10 minutes ago, he's swinging them around behind my head. Like he could have, if he was psycho, he could have killed us at any moment. This is a true story. This is what happened. So, and then the best part is, after the show, Kristen and her family went to drop him off. And went to drop him off. And they're like driving through. It's 11 o'clock at night. They're driving through. He's like, oh, you could just drop me off here. They like drop him off. He jumps out of the car and like takes off running down the street and like he's gone. So that was the story of the White Ninja. And he had my phone number, so he would like text me in school because we went to the same school. And I guess that's how he knew what town I was from. He would like text me in school like, oh, the White Ninja saw you today. I'm like, what the fuck? There's nobody in the hallway. Yeah, so that's... The show shouldn't have went past the White Ninja incident. But it did. So, yeah. That's probably one of the most ridiculous things that's happened. So since then, we didn't really have random people on the show. But since then, I have had people come on the show that I've met 10 seconds before coming on the show. That's become a normal thing. But I usually have a good idea who these people are ahead of time. Nothing like the White Ninja incident. I have learned from my mistakes. But that was probably one of my favorite years just because... back to the original question. Probably one of my favorite years because of that. Because of just how just raw and crazy and just... It was a mess. The show was a mess. It was more... I'm sure people tuned in every week just to see, like... to see if we get arrested, to see if, like, crazy things happen, and, like, what else we could come up with that was random. I'm sure that was a big reason for why people tuned in the first place. Because that was a big reason why we kept doing the show, just because we were just trying to be weirder and crazier. So, yeah. Yeah. And I would say the last year has been my favorite in a weird way. Just because I think... The Studio 3 was big. Studio 3 was big, huge. I was working on Studio 3 for a long, long time, over a year. Studio 3 concept, the technology behind it, all of that stuff. And I just think it was it's been one of my favorites in the sense. I think the pranks have been a lot just crazier. I don't know why. And I enjoy having special guests on every few weeks that have... Some of them have never done pranks before. I like that concept. And, yeah. So it's been, in a weird way, one of my favorites. Getting crazy. Okay. Have you ever not worn pants on the show? That's a legitimate question. I like that. And that, to be honest, that's not the first time I've been asked that. So, yes, I always wear pants on the show. I sometimes wear pajama pants, not recently, because, with the cameras and stuff, you could usually see most of me. But some of the shows where, like, you only see from my chest up, or if they're, like, a couch show, a lot of times I'll have pajama pants on, like, just because they're comfortable. It's a fucking show. So, but I've never just worn boxers or, like, yeah, that's weird. I've never done that. That sounds really weird and uncomfortable for me to do. Just because I know if I ever did that, that'd be the one show where the webcam, like, just goes like, zoom, autofocus, lighting adjust. Like, that's what would happen. So, no. Okay. Whew. This is, we're gonna get some crazy ones, too. Somebody asked, whatever happened to James from the longest prank call ever? Well, before, the James longest prank call, not longest prank call gone wrong story, I like everybody's commentary on the White Ninja story. It's amazing. Okay, so, jeez. What was the fucking question? Where am I? Oh, the prank call gone wrong story. So the prank call gone wrong, here's what happened. Here was the full story on it. This girl who was a fan of the show, and I knew her for a short period of time, wanted me to prank call her ex-boyfriend, who was James. And she said, call and say that, you're Brandon and you want to take him out on a date because he doesn't want to date me. So obviously he's gay, because that's how girls think sometimes. Most of the time. A lot of the time. 99.9% of the time. And no offense to girls or anything, but like this is a typical request that comes in more than once. So that was the original idea, was to call and ask him out on a date as Brandon, and if he didn't want to go on a date, it would kind of be funny because he'd be thrown off that this random guy thinks he's gay. And if he did accept the date, it'd be funny because she was right. So then that happened. The mom confused me for James, and the prank all gone wrong happened. I didn't know this. Found out later. He went to my high school, but not only did he go to the high school that I went to, his mom worked for the school district, as did my mom. So they had to, like, cross paths once in a while. That made it seem like every day. Like, every day they're just fucking shuffling. Every day I'm shuffling. Yep, whatever. Woo! I need a fucking laughing track. Because I know probably most of you got that joke, but to me it's silent. So, yeah. So, he comes home. Here's the story that I've heard from his family. So the full story was he was out with friends. He didn't have a cell phone because mom didn't want to buy him a cell phone because the mom obviously isn't all there, according to the prank. So he comes home after being out with his friends, and according, I think, to his aunt or his cousin, gets a little spankaroos, gets some claps on the ass, reference to Free the Fish, from his mom. For being high, for being naked in the woods, and obviously for not calling back. Now, James had no idea what was going on, so James is upset. I don't know if he's crying. I would assume one would be. He goes to the computer and he messages his ex-girlfriend, my mom just spanked me and I don't know why. I'm sure that's not the language he used. And then, again, this is what I've heard from family members. And I don't know why, like, I don't know what happened. And the girl said maybe this is why, because the video was already on YouTube by the time he got home, because for the 10 people who saw that happen live, or like 15 people, I literally stopped the show and uploaded the video to YouTube. Like literally, it was over. Like, that call happened, and that was it. It was over. The show was over. Uploaded it, whatever. So it was already on YouTube by the time he got home. So now he's in school. He's going through high school. Me and him go to the same high school. And here's how I actually met him. Here's how I met him. This is how I found James. I was walking through the hallway, and I kid you not, it was a big hallway. A lot of kids. There were like 3,000 kids in the high school, if I'm not mistaken. at 700 just in my class. So I'm walking through the hallway and I hear, James, your mom's looking for you. And like a group of kids like laughing, yeah, James, are your clothes missing? And then this kid turns and you see this kid's like face is all red. He seems embarrassed. I'm like, that's James. Like, oh my God. Like, whoa, that's James. That's so cool. That's what I'm thinking. And then he runs into me and I don't know if he was mad, but I don't see why he would be happy to see me. So that happened. And we didn't say anything. We didn't cross paths or whatever. So a few weeks later, or actually it could have been a few months later. A few months later, I had to call in sick, like, because I think I was sick, like for realsies. I was legitimately sick. I wasn't faking it, and I was no longer allowed to fake sick, or like just to miss school just because after this, because when you called the school to call in sick, you had to speak to James's mom. So if I couldn't go to school, my mom would have to call her and say, Jared McMullen can't come to school today. Okay, bye. I'm sure she didn't do that because she's not that awkward. That's what I would do. But my mom had to do that, and each time she had to do that, she would tell me, like, I'd freaking talk to James's mom today. You're an idiot, is what I hear frequently because of situations like that, because I am, in that sense. I agree. And, yeah, so then a few years later, I think it was a year or two ago, maybe longer than that, maybe 3 years. It was after a play. It was after a play Kristen was in. Yeah, I got sun poisoning. Jesus, that was another time, sun poisoning. Thank you, Mom. Yeah, sun poisoning. And then, yeah, so I'm at a diner. It was after freaking one of Kristen's plays. So everybody went to the diner, and I was the designated driver because those fucking middle school, high school kids, they like to get fucked up after plays. I was like the only one that could drive, or that wanted to drive, and that was like I think it was my aunt's thing, was like, oh, take my car, I'll give you money, just drive, because I don't feel like staying out, like, whatever, I'll go to the shitty diner. So I did, Merch's Bay Diner or some shit. They've gotten better, but that in that weird time they were, especially at night, it's fucking 9, 10 o'clock at night, you're on a breakfast, it's not going to be good. So I sit down, it was a weird situation. It's one of my friggin' exes was at the table, which made it really fucking awkward, and I didn't, it was still awkward, and like Kristen knew and a few people knew, so people were like, oh, hey Jared, hey person, I'm just like, fuck away from me. So, and there were like a lot of douchey people at the table on top of that situation. So I was like, I was very uncomfortable. So in that situation, you would think I fucked with everybody, but in that situation, it was a little too much. So I was just kind of like keeping to myself and kind of like fucking with other people at different tables. And this lady comes over and she sits down and she's like, can I talk to you? And I'm like, I guess. I don't fucking know you. So she goes, do you know who I am? And I'm like, no. And this isn't like in front of like everybody, like a group of people. Again, I didn't give a shit about these people, but it was still really weird because I'm like, how could this night get weirder? And she goes, I'm Mrs. So-and-so. I'm James's mom. Like, I don't know what my face was, but I'm sure it was probably like, that's probably what it was. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it was, but it was probably, it was definitely that. Like, that if Brandon walked into a restaurant and also found out it doubled as a gay bar, like. So she goes, I want you to take down that video. So now shit gets serious, because, yeah. Thankfully, again, I didn't like anybody at the table, so there was nobody that could really help in that situation. So she goes, I want you to take the video down from YouTube. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. I'm traveling. I don't have my computer. I'm going to be back at Myrtle Beach in like a week. I could see what I do then. Then she gets mad. She goes, that video has 1 million hits on YouTube. And then Kristen like fucking turns around and she goes, 10 million. It has 10 million views. Like, of course, not helping me. She gets mad. And she's like, I had to go to therapy because of that call. And I'm thinking like, you needed therapy before the call, obviously, if you're confusing. Plus there was another incident in that family, which I'm not going to talk about, which I knew why she went to therapy, and it was a legit reason, but she was trying to blame that on me, which was, no. So she was fucking lying to me. So and then I told her, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to lie to you and tell you that I'm going to take it down, but realistically, I'm never going to take it down. And I turned on her, I was like, I don't even know that I actually called you. And she's like, well, no, you really did. I'm like, I can't prove that it was you. And I was just being an ass. I'm like, and you're like the third person who said I've called them because of that call. And she was like, really? I'm pretty sure I could have convinced her that it never happened to her, but it did. Yeah. So, yeah, then they sent me a long email after that threatening to get a lawyer. But like, again, realistically, I don't know that it's her. Like, there are like how many Jameses on Earth? And I can't think that far. And we don't really talk about specific people, but Ruby and Paige, everybody knows a fucking Ruby and Paige. So, yeah. So yeah, that's what happened. Now I saved like the 5 fucking crazy, not crazy, but really fucking ridiculous, not ridiculous, really, really deep ones for next, so. Alright, let's start off with, how long will you keep doing Friday Night Cranks? We'll start with that one. That's, I know, we're getting fucking crazy. Thank you guys. So I have about 10 minutes of this left, so gonna, I mean, we could extend this, who gives a shit? Alright. I like people's interpretations of the stories. Alright. People feel bad for James, but it was a learning experience for everybody. Yeah, 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Alright, sorry about that. Okay. So here's how long will I keep doing Friday Night Cranks? Here's the honest answer. And this is, I said earlier tonight, but let me elaborate. As long as it is still fun. And that is why Friday Night Cranks has kept going all of these years, is because it's still fun. It's still good. It's still crazy. There have been ridiculous opportunities, which I'm sure at some point I'd talk about in more detail. There have been ridiculous opportunities where people have wanted to buy the show or fucking buy rights or buy percentages of the show, and like sponsors that try and come in and just fucking change shit around. And they're like, oh, but you'd be getting a lot of money. Like, no. This is not a money-making fucking opportunity thing. This is a show to make people laugh, to make me laugh, and to have fun. I'd rather work on some other stuff, like on the side, or like tie shit in. I'd rather do a fucking stage show that people buy tickets for. I'd rather sell shirts. I'd rather get any money by you guys supporting the show and getting stuff in return. That's why I don't do donations, because I think donations are stupid. And I believe that the show needs to be fun. Once you start thinking of it as like a fucking like machine, like a money machine, it's not gonna be fun. And I know for me it's not gonna be fun, and I'm not gonna want to do it anymore. And there are some people, and I'm not bashing people, but there's some people with YouTube channels or shows or just in general, they wake up every day and they sit there and they're like, how could I make more money? They'll like check, oh, my video only got 5,000 views or 50,000 views, it needs more. Like, oh, I guess I have to like, be more fucking current. And I'd rather wake up every day and go, how could I do this more awesome? How could I what's the craziest thing that I could do on the show this week? And how can I top last week? That is my thought process every day. And a lot of people don't agree with it, but that is my thought process. So the show could be going on for longer, but again, I would like to, my goal is to end the show I mean, it's obviously I don't want to be like fucking 50 doing prank calls, as fun as that seems. But I'd rather end it, and I have no idea when this would be, but I'm just telling you my thoughts. I'd rather end it, because you guys asked, while it's still fun, and not when it's not fun. So it'll be a weird time where I want to end it when it's fun and not be like, oh, this isn't fun, I have to figure out how to fucking wrap it up now. I'd rather end it while it's still fun. So, and that goes with anything that I want to do. There have been a lot of false starts with like different projects and stuff that I've been trying to do, because a lot of people's intentions are money, and mine is fun. And obviously there needs to be some sort of balance, but yeah. I see this as having fun, and as long as I'm having fun, fuck yeah. I'd much rather, that's the answer. So it will go on for as long as it's fun, and if whether that's in another 7 years, in another year, 2 years, like I don't know, but the thought of ending it has not crossed my mind. So you guys have a while. All right. Is the move to California, what the fuck is up with my speech today? Temporary or permanent? And here's my answer to that. I have no friggin' clue. Because, again, like, the opportunity came very spontaneously, and there are a lot of things now that I'm out here that are popping up and changing and being awesome. And who knows? I'm not thinking of it as temporary, but I'm also not thinking of it as permanent. My lease is up in like September, and who knows, like I might move from here to LA, or like, you know, just something might come up that may bring me back to like New York City, or like who the fuck knows. But I would say if I do move, or just much like I was saying before, anything that I do, whether it be temporary or permanent, is in the best interest of you guys and the show. So if an opportunity comes up to do something crazy, or, you know, whatever, a lot of people have been asking about TV stuff, or, you know, radio stuff, or whatever. If something comes up that means I would have to move somewhere else, that'd be fine. But as long as I could keep doing whatever the hell I want to do. So I have no idea if it's temporary or permanent. I'm more worried about like the show and this stuff. So that is my main focus. And also just fucking having fun. So all right. Here we go. What was one of the happiest and saddest moments of Friday Night Cranks? I'm gonna pick a few happy, only because I have one or two sad moments. That go with itself. I'm gonna start with I'm gonna start with happy and then on sad, because these next few questions are pretty sad. Happiest moments, I would have to say any time I have met you guys or gotten emails. I don't know if you guys know this, but I say this a lot. The Jared@FridayNightCranks.com email goes to my phone. So anytime you send in an email to Jared@FridayNightCranks.com, or through the Jared form, it goes to my phone. So a lot of you have sent really, really amazing emails in over the years, and I have read every single one of them. I sometimes cannot respond to all of them, and I do try. But I read all of them, and that is some of the greatest stuff. I literally have met over the last 7 years some of the greatest people. Literally 99% of the people that I talk to. I mean, not including family, minus family and my friend Michelle from high school. Everybody that I talk to and deal with and message and hang out with, I have met in one way through the show somehow. Either it's through friends of friends, or like I've done something and somebody's seen it, and I work with somebody and like meet a friend through there. Like, it's just fucking crazy. Yeah, so that's some of the coolest stuff. Where so some of the happiest things are just the people that I've met, meeting you guys in person, whether it's like at a stage show or a meetup or just randomly on the street or in an elevator. It's fucking awesome, because you guys say some pretty amazing stuff, and it's crazy. And I don't know what to say besides like thank you. And that's really, really awesome, because you see like the stats and the views and again, none of that shit matters to me, so I don't really think much of it. But to hear that some of you like have had really shitty days and weeks and some of the stuff that you guys have gone through, and that this stuff has made you laugh and helped you get through it, that's amazing. So yeah, that to me, that is crazy. And some of the saddest moments, there's two I want to touch on. There have been two people that I'm aware of, that I'm personally aware of, that have passed away, that have been huge Friday Night Cranks fans. One of them was Evan, I think it was FNC Evan or Evan FNC, and a close friend to a friend of mine who's been, I consider him a friend now, Zach Zepto Smith, his name was Kevin. They were both big Friday Night Cranks fans, and through complications and other, they have passed away at very young ages, and that has been really sad to deal with, especially getting an email from family members or friends telling me that they're big fans of the show, and seeing, going to their Facebook and seeing their default of, I mean, not to depress the shit out of you guys, but to see the default of Evan FNC was him with a green screen and a snowball microphone, and him trying to do his own little show. And just to hear about Kevin, and when I met Zacto Smith in person a week or two ago, just to hear the story about it is really, really sad. But at the same time, it fits into stuff where I think Evan's mom was telling me he was really sick for like months, and literally in the hospital watching Friday Night Cranks live every week and laughing his ass off, which is amazing. And just that has just been some of the saddest stuff that I've had to deal with in a long, long time. So yeah, and yeah, it's crazy. And at the same time, it is sad, but in a way, it's good that they had the show and other shows and other YouTubers and all stuff like that. And it's just crazy to hear some of those stories. And I'm sure, and it's really sad to think of that there are maybe stories similar to that that I have not heard. Just, because stuff happens, I just haven't heard about it. So to think of that there may be more stories like that is just very crazy. And then some of the saddest parts of the show was when Joe left Friday Night Cranks, and most recently, as you all know, when Kristen took her leave, and she announced, for those of you who may or may not know, she announced on Christmas that her decision to leave Friday Night Cranks has been permanent. So that was very sad. I know it's sad for a lot of you guys to deal with. It's very hard for me to deal with. And again, everything that happens is, my thoughts are for your guys' best interest. So when that happened, there was the Studio 3 show and then the leave, and I didn't find out until the day of that show. So, and again, I knew the leave was permanent, and her and I discussed that the leave was permanent weeks before you guys knew. Which I felt bad, and same thing with Joe. Like, I felt bad not talking about it, but at the same time, the show needed to go on. And those were the two options that I had, which some of you understand, some of you don't. Some of you have been, most of you have been supportive of it, and there have been few who haven't been as supportive, and I totally understand where both sides are at. But the only thing, and then I'm going to touch on this now, and then we're not going to talk about this again, is that I was faced with either continuing the show or stopping the show, because again, Studio 3 was made based around two people running it. And if you think about the tech that is involved with Studio 3, two people running a show, cameras and making calls and all that stuff is fucking insane. I've spoken to many people who deal with tech every day or who are on the same, who deal with live streaming and all that stuff, who thought that it would be very, very hard to do, which is, it was very hard to coordinate and pull off. So when the leave happened, and I told Mike, who was working on some apps and stuff, he busted his ass for the last 2 weeks, for the following 2 weeks, to make it so I could run the show on my own. He was programming stuff with the lights, and he didn't even have the lights, which is crazy. I don't know if any of you have tried programming with APIs or codes, and you don't have the actual product to test. it was like a 2-week period of him sending me stuff and me saying it doesn't work. That's all I know because I don't know that much stuff. Making it so I'd be able to run it on my own, which was crazy. And everything works. And that's why sometimes where there are tech problems, like I can't even get mad because like it's fucking crazy to be running all of this shit with just an app. So props to him for like literally saving the show. So that those few months were very, very hard to deal with in the sense, you know, like how most of you were having a really hard time dealing with it. And I felt bad because I knew everybody was having a hard time dealing with it, as was I, but the point of the show is to make people laugh and for comedy, and I don't do drama. I don't do fucking that stuff, so I'd rather not talk about it, but a lot of you guys have been asking, so here's the only time I'm going to talk about it. So, Kristen and I do talk. We actually were texting the other day, and again, there were a lot of changes that were going to be made when her and I were living together, so when she made the decision to go back to New York and even take her temporary leave, I had to figure out how to rework the live show, the stage show, the hidden camera show, and still do it because I still want to do it. I couldn't like just stop everything because you guys would not like that. I'm sure, and it's like, you know, there's no right way. You either continue the show or go on without somebody who was there for most of the time. So a lot of people asking, is she coming back? I have no idea. We have not talked about it. Like I said, her and I still talk. Her and I still talk, which is good. And it's going to be a very, very, very long time before any decision is made by the two of us because she has a lot going on and I have a lot continuing this. And again, my best interest is you guys in the show. And I totally support everything she's doing and going through and all that stuff. But again, like this, I do this for you guys and for a comedy experience. So that is the answer. So is she coming back? Things change, but as of now, no. Because again, if that was the case, I don't want to do the fucking Skype things again. A lot of you, you've only seen the live shows from 2 different locations, but all of you who have, I don't know, I am having so much fun with the Studio 3 shows, and there have been guests who are like, oh, I can't make it, can I Skype in? And I've said no. Like, that just adds another layer of complication with Skype being weird, and, Skype's not fucking reliable. To, like, call in and stuff, I'd rather this be kind of like what it was meant to be, a show, like a physical show where people are here. There's the fucking canon. Like, just have people calling in. I feel like it takes away from the experience for you guys because then I spend 15-20 minutes a week fixing tech problems, and it's just like I'd rather make more calls during those times. So yeah, and like I said, since August, this shit has not been easy for me, and it hasn't been easy for you guys, and I totally get it. So, but again, thank you guys. A lot of you have sent emails, Facebook messages, all that stuff, asking if I need anything to let you guys know, if you could help in any way, and I totally appreciate that. So yeah, and somebody said, would you ever do another couch episode? Well, I'm going back into the studio for the the live part of it. A couch episode with like handmade sets, maybe do like a throwback. The thing is, like, that's gonna, I don't know. It'd be cool for you guys to like see, like, and maybe use all the old microphones and old cameras and stuff. That's a fun concept. I'd have to think about it. But I'm having too much fun with the confetti cannon and all that stuff, and the 3 cameras and friggin' all the fucking apps. It's almost like, I don't know. So an old school throwback episode, maybe, but as of now, very unlikely. That does sound fucking fun though. But again, like, yeah, it's technology, all that fun stuff. Just a show without the confetti cannon, I can't imagine. I'd almost prefer that because it's scary as shit. What are some long-term goals for Friday Night Cranks? I don't know. There are ones like in my personal one, what I'd like to do. I would say, here's what I'd like to do for Friday Night Cranks. I'd like Just continuing the show as of now. I would like to do more hidden camera stuff. I'd like to bring more people on the show, and just see if they're good or not. And if they're good, bring people back. I mean, a lot of people have wanted to come back, and it's just a matter of timing. I mean, it's on a Friday night, so a lot of people have things to do. That's a goal, just to keep bringing on more people, whether you know them or if you don't know them, just to see if people are good, because you never know. More stage shows, more random meetups, and yeah, the stage shows I'm planning are going to be pretty cool. More comedy stuff. That was another question I may have missed. If there's going to be any more comedy songs, hell yeah. I'm actually working on 3 right now. 3 at the same time. So I've actually been working on one of them for like a year. It just hasn't happened. And those will hopefully be out soon. Hopefully before the first stage show, they'll be like out. So more hidden camera stuff, more stage stuff. I'm actually working on a hidden camera concept that's like really badass, and you guys will love it. And it's crazy. So it'll be crazy. So those are some long-term goals, and to just to keep having fun and meeting you guys. Meeting you guys is like awesome. So those are some long-term goals, guys. And let's just double check the Twitter and see if there were any other fucking questions. Let me see. Really, phone? My phone's like, I'm going to freeze today and not load up Twitter. All right. Oh my god, people in your Photoshops. So yeah. All right, so I think that's it. Okay. Did I miss anything? I think I got all the questions. I hope those were all of your questions. And again, if you missed any of this or if you tuned in late, I will be posting this full to YouTube, so people can like rewind and shit. Those were tough. Those are tough. I'm very confused. Damn. My mom said to fix the pillows. I don't know what that means. Like, come on. I don't know what that means. How are they? I don't get it. That's what I'll do. So it's one big pillow now. I think I answered all of it. So here's what's going to happen, guys. I'm going to go set up the show's kind of set up. Really? I'm going to play some music for you guys. And so we're going to take a little break, about 20 minutes or so. Take about a 20-minute break. And then we're going to start the show. I'm going to play the music. We'll do a light show as usual. Then we're going to get into 4 hours of prank calls. I feel like yeah, I hope I answered all of your questions. If I missed any, like I said, feel free to tweet any questions or whatever, and I will answer some as best as I can. And, yeah. Very confused. Oh, my mom said make them in the same direction. There we go. Sorry, Mom. Same direction, and yeah, that good? All right. All right, so I will start off, might be it'll be about 20 minutes. All right, so here's some stew music. Fake with funk, and then we're gonna play some fizz and sprinky dinks, and then, I'll talk about it on the show. Somebody's birthday. So, here are some songs. When these songs are over, I'll get ready. So I'm gonna go get ready for the show. So, yeah, I'll be back, guys. So, go to the bathroom, take a break, pee, that's what I'm gonna do. Go grab some food, that's what I'm gonna do. Grab something to drink, that's what I'm gonna do. Because my voice is starting to get weird. So here we go. Get ready for some prank calls in about 20 minutes or so, or whenever this music's over. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in a minute. Hopefully the music's playing.